I'll have to double check that.
Is it the Kevin Smith one or the other one?
I think
The
the
one
Kevin
that-
Smith one already happened
Yeah, it's the one
that's
that
what I thought.
and flopped.
it's hard. People don't like it. This one, hold on.
Gotta hold on. Wait, how does that song go?
Fuck if I know.
I think it's Jonas Brothers.
I'm a sucker for you.
Oh, god
Oh,
damn
Oh,
it.
Revolution.
I was thinking Bon Jovi, whatever. Wait.
No. I am so over the new Jonas Brothers. They're definitely not bad, but this is not what I listen to, Jonas Brothers. Where's Year 3000? Just do that one on repeat.
Bring back Year 3000. Where did it go?
Exclusively.
Funniest part being Year 3000 is not even their song.
What
Oh,
is?
that's a cover. It's a cover.
All their songs
Yeah,
are
it's a cover.
covers.
They're like the Elvis of today. I feel like we've had this conversation before.
We have. No, we talked a lot
I
about this
wasn't
on
a
the
part of
cabin
this.
trip.
No, because I think you're the person that told me that was a cover.
No, because I
Oh,
was
shit.
astounded to find. I think it was Chucky told us.
Okay, this is totally random, but I was pulling up the Marvels like search just so I could
Yeah.
like have it in front of me.
And we came up.
And I stumbled I stumbled upon a news article that says this logo in the Marvels trailer is either confirmation of X-Men in the MCU or the biggest red herring yet. And it's
Oh, I know
a
what
screen
it's
grab from the medical scene with the
Mm.
X-Men logo on a computer screen in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. It's like mad small. Like I can't believe someone found that. Someone was really searching that trailer to find that.
That was
Yeah.
the final trailer they put out like a week before the movie was out. I didn't put it in the rotation for us to watch it because we were about to watch it, so I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
watch it. But I
Also,
believe
we
that
don't
was
have
it.
any like we were not going to get any new feelings on the show with that trailer or the movie rather.
Right, that was the other part of it. So glad I didn't put it in.
No, I think if I knew.
None
the
of us would have
X-Men-
seen that.
I think if I knew
Right.
like the X-Men logo in advance, I would have gone into this in a much better mood.
Hmm.
By the way, guys, we're live, back
We're
at you with
live.
the live. Austin had no idea. He just peed himself, I'm pretty
I
sure.
had no idea.
I knew we were, and I forgot to grab the link for the social post because I'm a dum dum.
Hey, let's go.
Guys, it's
Okay.
obscure reference. We're back at it. All of us have recently gotten back from having seen the Marvels. It's the new movie for Marvel. It's about the Marvels. They, they marvel you, or at least attempt to. And we're gonna talk about the movie, and
Shit.
we're gonna have opinions, and we're gonna share those opinions and delve into some discussions. And ooh boy, I can't wait.
All right, you want to do
Oh
intros?
yeah, you go ahead. Start.
All right,
Hey,
I'm
I'm
Patrick.
John.
Okay.
Great start. Love
All
it.
right. There's John.
Hi,
There's
John.
also Austin.
Patrick
You can't say hi
Prime.
to yourself. Patrick Prime. And joining us today is a special guest, is my good buddy Will. Say hello, Will.
Or as John put it on the screen, Caged Will.
He
Oh my God.
very specifically told me not to call him something antithetical to that. So
God damn it. Cage.
Just Will is fine. Or William. That's only if I'm in trouble.
I got
There you
man.
go.
That's great. All right, yeah. How do we? I guess before we jump into this, Will, do you want to like give your background a little bit on like where you are with Marvel right now?
I guess. Let me think. Okay. As with many people, I started with Iron Man way back in the day. My parents got divorced, and I always go to the movies with my dad. A lot of those were Marvel movies. One exception was Thor, which I didn't see until college, but
You weren't missing much.
yeah, I know.
That's fair.
Then I kind of fell out after the first Avengers came out, like I think most people, or at least half the people. And then by the time Winter Soldier came out, set me back in. I've been along for the ride, full stop, ever since. My favorites are Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Ragnarok, and my favorite show is probably either WandaVision, give sense of taste. And one thing that I like the most about them is actually the music. I actually did a project, as like a thesis project for, or it was like an independent study for my major. I'm a film major. I graduated a few years ago, bachelor, and I did a video on the score of Winter Soldier, and I don't know what else to prove it, but I mean, those are my qualifications. Thanks.
Heck yeah.
Wow, I'm a pretty
Sounds
dedicated
qualified to me.
fan. So I want to know why you put yourself through watching all of Marvel, because I am no fan of Marvel. Like back in the day, loved me some Iron Man. Captain America, great movie, great time. Avengers comes out and it's wicked awesome and it's great. And phase 2 happens and that one's also pretty good. And by phase 3, I'm worn out. Endgame was a good ending for me. And since then, I've just hated Marvel and everything it's become.
You know what's really
Big
funny? A lot of people, or I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. It's just I hate Marvel. I'm every time I see a new thing, I just get more disappointed in them. Spoiler
As you'll
alert.
find, John is incredibly hyperbolic all the time.
I
All
am
the time.
cynical, and I accept that.
Hey, as
And
long as you accept it, that means at least you're decent, probably.
No,
he's not.
I'm a
Like your
heathen.
opinion.
Okay, but like actually getting into the movie kind of spoiled me. Not super thrilled. Why doesn't somebody start us off on a high note?
I'll go.
Amon Villani. That's it. End of story.
This this was sorry, I'm pulling up my notes. I thought this was an incredibly fun movie. So many things that came up in this movie I was not prepared to like. Given that I didn't watch Miss Marvel, I didn't know a lot about her portrayal as Kamala Khan. I thought she was absolutely delightful and brought a levity to this movie that was sorely needed when you have Brie Larson, who I'm starting to worry about whether or not she can actually act well. And Captain Rambo being kind of like pretty straight, kind of like hard soldier types. So she brought some levity to the group there. I thought that very first scene, and I know Will, you weren't here for this, but we talked about the whole like in the trailer how they were going with the switching back and forth and whether or not they would overplay that or how that would really work. That very first fight scene when they don't really understand what's going on is so much fun to watch as they like teleport back and forth between the different areas. That the like fucking when they're like teaching each other how to use it perfectly. Loved that. That was a lot of fun. Obviously, Aladna when they were on the singing planet was fucking incredible. That was my favorite part. I loved it so much. The Flurkins coming back and the whole storyline at the end with the Flurkins was so much fun. There were so many pieces of this that were just fun to watch. Some of the emotional beats were not entirely earned in the movie itself. I think this movie in particular shows a kind of problem that the MCU has now of like pieces of emotional arcs are earned in other pieces of media. And so it makes like the arc with Rambo and Carol and this one seem really short and like it turns really quickly because you have to have the context of something else to kind of understand where it's at. But overall, I really like this movie. It's not like one of the best MCU movies, but it's a good time.
Nice,
I
nice.
agree. Nothing is perfect. I mean, not obviously nothing is. For me, the Marvels was exactly what I wanted it to be. Just a nice, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl movie. With I had watched Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel last week, run up to it, and I did watch a little bit of WandaVision. Just I think I only ended up watching episode 4, if I remember correctly, where it recaps all of the series up to that point from the and Sword's point of view, and yeah, I honestly felt that especially all the stuff with Kamala's family, who are absolute gems. along with
Oh,
Kamala
yeah.
Southby
Mhm.
today. Just thinking about her family hanging out in space with Nick Fury casually while they're because their house got wrecked.
That
Pretty
is
funny.
taking us to hell.
And Amir's just trying to FaceTime his wife and like, you don't use phones in space. And then he's like, oh no, sorry. But anyway, a lot of stuff from Miss Marvel. I was happy to see uh continued and at least referenced explicitly in the Marvels. I think is nice because I think up to this point we haven't really had a lot of the characters make the jump from Disney Plus theatrical release, unless they're already pre-established, like Loki, for example, who's the opposite, started off in the movie his own series.
Yeah.
Um,
And that kind of debacle that was swapping or bringing the WandaVision stuff to Multiverse of Madness.
which
Yeah.
yeah, and then my critique with that with those two is that they did not watch WandaVision. They basically redid
Yeah.
their arc.
Yeah.
I'm sure another
Mhm.
whole can of worms. But going back to the Marvels, I really think that so it's a point where you can like I think Austin, you didn't watch Marvel.
I hadn't seen Miss Marvel now.
Okay. But you still understood everything. You basically got the basic beats from the show, which
Mm-hmm.
that's a good thing. But also, it's nice kind of reward for us who watch the series and love it, like myself, um, with like explicit things of the bangle being from her grandmother, and how it basically time traveled her all the way back to oh, what's it called? I should know
I I should know this too.
this.
I've been thinking about it a
They
lot.
go
I'm
back
like, I
where
don't
they go
remember.
back to Karachi. Partition. Partition.
Partition. Yes, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. So it was nice to actually have that name dropped. I'm like, hey, I remember that. That's so cool. Ah. Um. So and as Austin before, Amon, he's perfect. Honestly, perfect casting. I think
Hmm.
in everything I've seen outside of um, RDJ as Iron. But going on to the other two, Captain Marvel has kind of had a shorter through line, if that makes sense, where she's kind of got suddenly introduced to Captain Marvel, but didn't have much of a personality. And then shows up in a game, kicks ass, saves the day, and then she's just a legend the rest of the time between now and then. So it's nice to see her show up and actually have a personality. Because when I was rewatching Captain Marvel last week, I liked it the first time. I didn't go back and watch it right away when I got it on. But looking back at it now, I can definitely see that. Like, yeah, Brie could have brought a lot more to it, but I think it was just a lack of direction. Whereas here in the Marvels, like direction is like the first thing I can tell from is that the direction from Nia DaCosta and the chemistry between all three of them are just great. Brie really does shine as Captain Marvel now. I think fully gotten to it, and then Monica. I mean, Monica's cool. It's like what Austin said. It's just kind of the normal one of the three of them because a lot of Marvel stuff and a lot of movies nowadays too are all um, military adjacent. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, Teyana Paris, I believe is her actor.
Hmm.
Honestly, I think we really got to flesh her out even more, even though she actually did have a decent, pretty good arc. WandaVision. This feels like a natural progression, especially after the last her WandaVision. But then if we go to Secret Invasion, things get kind of that's like Secret. I'm usually pretty lenient about what I like and what I don't like in like a critical sense. The Secret Invasion is one of those things where like ah they didn't try hard enough. They made it and the
I
AI opening did not help.
No.
yeah. Look, I'm just gonna throw this in here just because I was thinking about this when we were watching the Marvels. but they're lucky that they didn't go farther into the scrolls really in this, because there is some real, I don't know if it's overt or not. I don't know enough about the scrolls background really to know this, but there are some real comparisons to the Jews in real life. And in this specific time, that could have been really bad for this movie if that was what this
Oh, yeah.
centered on.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a comment that said it doesn't directly reference anything about Secret Invasion, and it almost works better as a prequel to Secret Invasion. But like timeline wise, I don't know if it makes that. I'm starting to blot out Secret Invasion, and like it never happened at this point.
It doesn't feel like anyone actually cares about the scroll. Like I just said that, which makes that sound worse. But like any of the stuff that the scrolls have been in, like it doesn't feel like they're a very interesting part of the MCU. And some of the stuff that they get to at the end of this is far more interesting in terms of where the MCU is going than where we've been at with the scroll like secretly being in different areas. That is kind of just like, don't really care.
Yeah. Scrolls are a whole can of worms. I'm not thrilled with what they've done with them outside of the first Captain Marvel movie. Like they've just been sorely underutilized, and it doesn't feel like that's going anywhere. So,
Not to mention they killed off the most likable one, which is the one we knew best, which was Talos.
yeah, don't get me started.
That was not. That was not.
Yeah, we need
Which,
to talk about this.
so I didn't watch Secret Invasion, but now I just have to ask because you guys saw it. So I saw a tweet that said that when Don Cheadle is at Iron Man's death, he was actually a scroll and it wasn't Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
Why?
That's
Why would
correct.
you do that?
It's fucking stupid.
That's just like got to be one of the worst retcons I
Here's the
can
thing about
think of
that.
off the top of my
It's
head.
real bad.
It's not official, at least in the way you think it is. It's all because
Okay.
there's a thing called authorial. There's this idea called authorial intent, where obviously was it Ali Salim, I believe the director's name was,
Something along
Secret
those lines.
Invasion, and he said he thinks that that Rhodey was a scroll in Civil War, but hey, just cause it's not set in stone anywhere, and that's just one man's vision. It's not the vision.
I hate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I agree with you there. Like that was the other thing, is that basically it cheapens Tony's death, and it creates a whole bunch of problems because Skrulls bleed purple, and they have to change back if they die, which they didn't. But yeah, I just think that was just again bad call after bad call in that show. The only good thing about Secret Invasion was what's the British chick's Sonia.
Oh, Olivia Colman.
She was a delight. I love.
She was the best part of that show, easily better than Sam Jackson, which is saying something.
He was just there for a picture.
Absolutely.
That's one of the few things about this. There's a couple of things about this movie that are just okay. One of those to me was Sam Jackson in this movie, because he's been in this series for so long now that he doesn't actually feel like a character with any real through line. He changes so much between movies to match whatever the theming is of that movie at this point. Like he was this, like in this movie, he was not the Taskmaster running Shield or the Avengers program. He's just like a guy who's there. He technically runs the program, but then just like shouts out one-liners the whole time, like just joking through very serious situations. And then if you just think back to like the scenes leading up to the blip and where Sam Jackson was at that point, like it's basically not the same character.
I'll agree with that to an extent. Like we even have this scene with Kamala reenacting the first scene where Nick Fury approaches Tony Stark in Iron Man 1. And that just feels like such a long shot from where Nick Fury is now. And it feels like a different Nick Fury than even in Secret Invasion. That Nick Fury feels different than, Spider-Man Far From Home. Like I could go on. Like they all feel just slightly different.
Yeah, it feels that. I think that's part of the thing for me that brings this movie down. It's kind of like I said, is just that there's so many elements of this that are kind of dampened by the fact that it has to be part of this greater universe. So, and that's where like it limits how good of a movie this can be, just because it like Captain Marvel wasn't enough on its own to make this, like, her character and her storyline on its own good. So they had to connect it deeply into the other stuff in the MCU, but that runs you into a very murky waters about making an actual good, coherent story within itself.
Hmm. Yeah, we could talk about, the hype of Endgame and Infinity War with Captain Marvel all day. Like that. I think that did Captain Marvel a disservice. They had to write for Endgame and Captain Marvel at the same time, and that's why you get the inconsistencies with their character. Um, there's just it's a whole can of worms with how that's going, and there's something similar, I think, between this and Secret Invasion. I think these were both written at the same time, and that's why it just feels like they're so disconnected, even though they are very closely related, especially because they're dealing with the Kree and the Skrull. So it's just the way the production pipeline works. I think they shoot themselves in the foot sometimes with that.
Yeah, and going back to something that Patrick said real quick, two things. One,
Mhm.
Far From Home, for you was a scroll, so you get to pass there.
All right, yeah, that's true. For 90% of the movie.
My brain was thinking about this yesterday. How did Kamala know exactly what Fury said to Iron Man?
That's been bugging me ever since I watched
know,
that.
it's bugging me too. Because I mean, like, it could be coincidence. Or
No, it's definitely not. She's definitely, like, she gives the gruff voice like that specifically to pretend she's Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
See,
I'm trying
This is one of those things where I fall back on this line I heard a while ago of, like, there's plot holes that affect the story, and that makes it a problem. And then there's things that you do that create plot holes, but that are just fun. Like this, that's such an unimportant, like, piece of knowledge about whether or not she knew that Sam Jackson did it exactly like that. And it's really fun as an actual scene. So I'm able to just go, like, I don't really care, because I just want, like, fun scenes in movies, and I'm willing to have small, unimportant plot holes to have that. Like, if it makes for a better scene, I don't care.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it ultimately work for me, is because, like, it's, from a meta context, it's Aman Vellani, who's a huge Marvel nerd, playing Kamala Khan, who's a huge Marvel nerd. And so, of course, Aman would know that Nick Fury speech from Iron Man 1 like the back of her hand. So it worked for me in that context.
Yeah.
Okay, I've
right,
sat and
John,
played
go in
nice
with
long
your
enough.
Get off the
Okay,
bench.
I don't know where to begin. Let's start off with an easy one, okay? In Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the villain doesn't make much sense at all. Like, why does he do these animal experiments to make super intelligent raccoons just to try, like, why do we need an animal civilization to be a perfect civilization? We never delve into his character there, but he is charming as all hell when he's on screen. He is well acted, he is well played, he is a fun villain. This villain had motivation. She, is being tricked into thinking the Annihilator's a bad person and I gotta kill her and steal all things to bring back my people. Like, she's doing evil, horrible things. She's tricked. Sure, you can call that compelling, whatever. But my God, I hated every second she was on the screen. She was not fun to watch. She was not well acted.
Bland.
And she was just told, wait, what's my character's motivation? Your motivation is that you're on day 3 of a teeth whitening program and to just speak like this the whole time. Like, goddamn, just every scene. My God, just
Yeah, true.
that opening scene where she splits open the rock. I don't believe for a second that was real rock. And I know they're not going to break real rock, but it just looks like it crumbles like fucking graham crackers. It looked pathetic.
I didn't even
as a
think
prop.
it was a rock. I thought it was like a monolith or something, like something crafted, not like just a rock in the
Yeah,
ground.
It was made of some sort of stone.
Space stone.
Sure.
But if you're trying
But
to,
it's
you're trying to encompass this thing, then okay, you've built a monolith around it that just crumbles when you touch it. She hit it like what?
Well, I think
I
think
got
it- I
issues
think the
with
part
Lieutenant
that-
Man Bun because, like, goddamn, who the hell even are you, dude?
That's valid. That's valid.
Okay, I'm gonna be jumping around here. Just gonna rapid fire for a minute. You got the end of the movie where Brie Larson's crying in the field of grass. And she's like,
Oh my God.
I couldn't come home because I caused a whole freaking genocide, and I thought if I cleaned that up, you could still respect me. And then after like 3 days of being reunited, Monica's just like, don't you have the powers of a god and can just ignite them a new sun? And Brie Larson stood there like, yeah, I don't know if I can do that. Just like, it's the moment where she realizes, oh, I do have the powers of the god, and for 25 years I've been trying to avenge myself, but never once thought,
Yeah, but that
why
wouldn't
don't I
have
just
saved
try that? Building them a new sun?
They
that
would
would've-
still not have air or water.
It would have been step one for sure. If you have that power and you're trying to avenge for your sin, that step one is just use your godlike infinite power to ignite them a sun, which you definitely have the power to do.
She's like a Sunny D. She's got the power of the sun.
Okay, number 3, the stupid ass singing planet. My God,
was awesome.
What the shit was that? No,
Was awesome.
did they sound good? Yes. Did they have a
Absolutely.
weird, fun aesthetic? Sure, if you're into that sort of thing. Why is singing their language? Like, and speaking, like, you can't understand them, so it's just like some rap inaudible to them? At no point do they explain, like, yes, we sing perfectly in English, but we don't have the written word. We've never written down music on a sheet before. We're all just born with this inherent knowledge. And if you speak at a flatter tone than what we're used to, we just have no idea what the exact same fucking word means. Like, they just call it an accent. Be like, ooh, I can't understand you because of your accent. Not, yeah, don't know what language you're speaking, dude, because you didn't do what
What's
I'm hearing.
wait? What's the difference between someone speaking English in an accent and someone singing, and why is an accent better?
What do you mean?
If you're okay with someone speaking English words but in an accent, and then them saying I can't understand you
Okay.
because of your accent, why is that better than they're singing English words
Yeah.
and so they can't understand when you speak them normally? What's
Because
I
that
don't-
makes
they're-
no
they're-
goddamn
That sounds
sense.
exactly the same.
No, because
But
if
so
you can't
neither does an
understand them,
accent.
if you can't understand them because of an accent, that's like, oh, they're speaking a way you can't understand. It's you recognize the same language, but the accent's so thick you don't get it. This is like, I have no idea what you just said, even though I sang just that exact word. I know the form of that word, but I can't recognize it
hard
for
disagree.
no other reason than the pitch of your voice. That's stupid.
Those are the
They,
same
they
thing.
can hear them speaking. They know they're speaking. They just don't know what they're saying, even though they say the same thing.
All I'd like to add is that the way my headcanon is that the way they write sheet music, they just write down the notes and they write down the lyrics underneath it.
Quick,
Boom.
I agree with that, but quick tangent. I found socks in my drawer, and I don't know why they're there.
What door is it?
It's not even a drawer. The way my desk
Computer
is, it's
drawer.
like, yeah, where my desk, I guess. I have like little holes under my desk where I can like reach my hands in and stuff and like hide shit. And there were just a pair of socks in there. Anyway,
What's next, John?
1 second, I've
So-
got to interact with chat.
oh god, who's there?
A lot of people.
Who's there? Actually,
Patrick's socks are scaring me. Patrick,
It's
put your socks
Mandy and
away.
Maddie.
oh my god.
There's also a Robin Deary in chat. She's our number 2 fan.
Nice.
No way, hell yeah.
No way, hell yeah.
All right, what's your next point, John?
I kind of got off the train there. I'll need a minute to regroup. So go ahead. Counter.
Did you hate the cats as well? Did you hate the other fun part of this
Oh,
movie?
I did actually. Thanks for the reminder.
Oh no.
Okay.
It
No,
never ends.
as a concept, I'm not like upset there's cats. I'm not like, oh, it's stupid there were cats. Like, fine, you want a bunch of cats in the movie and they're the aliens and you hatch eggs and you have hundreds of kittens running around. Why not? That'll get people in seats. I don't care about that part of it. The fucking plan with the cats. Like, sure.
It's hilarious.
The cats eat the humans and they condense them down in their body because of alien space magic, whatever. I don't have an issue with that. My issue is that these cats are eating multiple people a cat, boarding the cats because now they're condensed into the spaceship. You're still carrying all that weight. That hasn't gone anywhere even if you pushed it into a really small cube. And then you're just loading those cats into escape pods, not strapping them into anything, crash landing them onto the concrete of the Statue of Liberty, and everybody just walks away fine. Like, one lady is vomited up mid-flight as they're crashing, and she just, not a cut, not a bruise. They just, oh, gotta bend my neck this way and stretch my arm. Like, they just walk away, no big deal whatsoever. And they kept announcing over the intercom, just let the cats eat you. It's part of the plan. What plan? Did you just tell these newborn infants, go consume my crew, but promise not to digest them, and then we're just gonna, at what point did the cats conceive this plan? Because you did not just
cats.
tell day-old kittens to do
This
this.
is
And
a
they
good
were like,
plan.
yep.
John,
yeah.
okay,
No,
John,
it
let's
was
have
poorly
a
thought
therapy
out, it
session
was
real quick
poorly
about the
executed,
cats.
and I'm not going to therapy.
No, I just want to walk through this with you. Okay, so if there was a scene right before they say we have a plan,
Okay.
and then Fury gets into Rambo's office, her lab,
Okay.
and builds a cat translator.
Okay.
Like they work for hours in a little montage,
Okay.
and get the cat translator, and then they talk to the main Flurkin, and she said, "This is our plan." Blah 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 blah. Here's the plan.
Okay.
Then they go through it. And then things happen exactly like you said. They go
Gotcha.
and they land at the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
And then all of the parents and all of the cats, they walk out and they're like, "Ow, my arm!" And "Oh my God, look at this scrape on my face."
No,
Is that a better scene?
If they had exploded upon impact, yes, I'd be happy.
Is that a better scene? Like honestly, if you saw that, like, would you really think this is a better movie because of that? Because
No.
that's my thing. It's like
It's
you're
a
totally
stupid-
correct.
All they have to do is
It's,
like
you're
fucking
totally
duct tape
correct
the
that
cats
none
into
of those
place.
points were in this movie. None of those points were in this movie. You're correct. Logically, it doesn't make sense. But it's a better movie because of that scene, regardless of the logical facts. I just think it's a fun scene and I don't
Like,
care.
I can suspend my
Logic.
disbelief so far, but you were asking me to freaking
John,
break
it's
some
a
world
it shoots
records
tentacles out of its mouth. What do
That's
you
not
mean?
working.
You're
That's
well
not
beyond the part of this being logical.
Like they're
your
day-old
disbelief was
kittens.
it
They're
was
not in-
suspended
even if you could
18 movies
translate,
ago.
they're just not in on the
18.
plan. They're just
more than 18.
literally like same day infants just start consuming people, and they're like they know what they're doing. No, they don't.
They just hatched out of their eggs that day.
I look again. It was
So
I
okay,
admit,
so
it
now
was
you're
fun to watch.
missing
It
some
was
logic.
really
Where'd the
cute.
eggs come from?
That's a real good point.
Maybe they.
If we're just gonna go down the logical road, why does the egg look like a dragon egg? Why did they just magically spawn all over the place? Did this
What-
cat?
look,
is
what-
it just like asexually
you
reproducing
can asexually
eggs?
reproduce. What's that other
Eggs?
word? You could do parthenogenesis
Eggs
too. That's
reproduce.
actually
I don't know
about-
if I've ever seen that.
eggs reproduce parthenogenically. Yeah, lizards can lay eggs without a mate. The caveat is they all hatch female.
Caviar.
Yeah, caviar. Let's go eat some lizard caviar. No, but yeah, you can absolutely lay eggs without a mate. Why are they look like dragon eggs? Because it's an alien. Like they can make that part up. I don't have an issue with that. It's when like the form comes to functionality,
Got
it
it.
just
That
falls
makes
apart.
logical sense. Sure.
Listen, I'm a curmudgeon and you're wrong. I can't help you.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna be completely logical, let's just logical through every point. I mean,
The egg was twice as
Go.
big as the cat can consume people. The cat literally they're absorbing how many tens of people into them.
You know
fine
what?
with that part.
how do these humans breathe when they're inside of this tentacle cat? It doesn't make any
No,
sense.
that reminds me. At the end of the fucking movie, when they've torn apart the rift and they put it back together, fucking Brie Larson is just hyperventilating in space. That's hyperbole. She is definitely heavily breathing in space, and I'm fine that she's a freaking alien, doesn't need to breathe air, and you can exist in the vacuum of space. I'm not arguing that. Why is she breathing at all then? Like, you're not replenishing the oxygen that's been depleted from your cells during use. Like, why are you possibly breathing? You're not inhaling anything. You're not you're just breathing in CO2 at that point. Like, there's no reason for her to be panting. There is no benefit. And if you can breathe in space and not die, you don't need to worry about replenishing your oxygen.
I can offer some sort of resolution.
Okay,
So-
show me what you got.
Do it.
In the Transformers comics I mentioned to you guys earlier, obviously you think, oh, Transformers have eyes, noses, ears, and mouths. Why did they do that? They don't even eat. They just drink Energon all day. It's a little thing called humanization, where
Yep.
again.
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
no, I
kind of-
understand it's a thing, but it doesn't make sense, and I would rather have not. Like I get that it makes
No,
her more
here's-
relatable, and like yes,
Well,
if
well,
I had just sewn
hold
the
on.
rift together, I'd be breathing
on.
heavy.
No, she's part human, even though like she got her memories back. So maybe it's just habitual.
It's true.
I mean,
She
like
did.
if you were flying in space and you had half Kree blood in you, you'd probably still hyperventilate. Even though you
Okay.
don't need to.
But the actual act of breathing vacuum would feel drastically different from breathing air. She would recognize this as an odd sensation and want to stop herself.
Have you ever breathed vacuum before, though?
I don't want to answer that question.
Okay.
That feels like a yes.
That sounds like a yes. He didn't say yes, but he meant it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak John's next logical
Okay.
issue for him.
Oh please.
Off of this one. Because I'm sure you're gonna get to this, and if you
I
don't,
want to.
I have problems.
I've got one in mind. I'll tell you if you're right.
When they use their powers, they continuously say, whenever we use our powers, we're gonna teleport between bodies. However, about half the time they actually
So
use their
I'll
powers
stop
and
you
teleport.
there. The caveat was it's whenever they use their powers at the same time. That's why it wasn't every hit.
Yep. It's
Come on, Austin, get on your game.
There's no way that's true. I 100%.
No, I
they may
promise
have said that.
that was a lie
but
because I
that
had
doesn't
that.
actually work.
I
in
had
theory.
that issue until they said we have to do it at the same time, and that's why they all had to like, they were jump roping to learn how to do it in
these
sync.
boys.
Hell yeah, BC boys.
Because I can think of an example just off the top of my head. So there's the scene where Carol Danvers is looking in at the like main area where the Kree are talking,
Mhm.
and then Kamala uses her powers and switches with Carol when Carol's just spying on them as they talk.
We
So
have
what
to
was
assume
Carol
she-
using her
look,
powers then for?
Look, I don't disagree with you to an extent, but the fact that it was off screen, we don't know that she wasn't mid fight with someone. You know, we
This is-
don't look. We
look,
can't
I don't
be
actually-
certain something wasn't going on that required her to be using her power.
I don't know now, John. Now you're triggering me.
No, 'cause
in that
I'm-
I don't actually care. But the fact that you're willing to get so logical about something else and then go, you know what? They probably could have
This one's
possibly
fine.
been using their power in this scene. Like
It was
come
off
on.
screen. I don't have proof. That's all I'm saying. It's likely she wasn't because you're right. She was just spying on them. But there is possibility exists that she was doing something with them. I can't disprove it. If it was on screen and we saw her just poof out, I'd be right there with you. But we didn't have that scene, so I can't prove you right.
Okay, so then I can just say that about anything. How do we know? Because there wasn't a scene that they didn't build a cat translator, talk to the cats, let them know the plan, and then implement the plan. It wasn't on screen. It could have been. It could have been off screen. You never know.
They're kittens. Regardless of anything, they were
They're not kittens, actually. They're an alien with
Flurkins,
tentacles.
Okay, get on it.
Okay, wait, so you're telling me that's an intelligent species from birth that just has the ability to comprehend whatever
I
like
was.
I'm not saying anything. All I'm
Okay.
saying is if all that has to be is off screen, I can say that about anything. Like for any plot hole. Oh, they just did it off screen.
You get the last fight of this of the movie, right? They're going in the big combat against the villain whose name I can't be bothered to remember,
Ben-Hur.
Dorfin. And they're having the fight. You know, it's well choreographed. It's pretty fun to watch. It's all that stuff. Captain Marvel's clothes take a little bit of damage. You know, she's got some scratches there.
my
She-
favorite,
like-
my favorite was the hole in her pant leg.
Yeah, she's
it
got
looked
the-
like
she's
someone
got
just
the
cut a
hole in the
hole in her
pant leg.
pants.
But like, you can tell her outfit has taken some damage. Sure, makes sense. You're doing combat. When she goes to reignite the goddamn sun, she comes back. Her clothes are intact. You're telling me they're susceptible to punches and kicks, but Infinite Inferno won't. It's what cotton is that? What linens does this woman obtain?
What cotton is that?
No, for
Space
like.
cotton.
Clearly,
It's
it's
just-
fireproof, dude. Come on.
No, like
Oxycontin.
that's what I'm telling myself, even as a joke. But like, what is your shirt made of? That it can tear, but it won't burn.
It's those. It's Aladdin. It's whatever. It's whatever the water planet, singing planet.
And
Okay, and
Alright.
this isn't an actual issue I have. This is just a lesser personal issue I don't hold against the movie. I would have liked the entire Water Planet peoples. Maybe we fuck the singing aspect of them, or keep it if you feel like it. It just made
That's
them
nice.
any more like aquatic of a city. Like the planet's 99.63% water, but they had a pretty like land dwelling city. I didn't see any docks. You know,
There's a lot.
Mhm.
Now.
it could have been
Yeah.
more marinary. That's not an
I knew
actual
what you
issue
meant.
I have, but I feel like they could have fit that vibe a bit better.
It's basically.
we
space
should have had battleships shooting at the starships in the air.
Oh wait, you just reminded me of one.
Oh, no.
Hey, so we're on the fucking like the first planet with the treaty that goes wrong, and the Skrulls are trying to evacuate, and they're getting sucked up into the vortexes.
Like that.
And my God, you know, they're like, we can only save so many people. We gotta go, and you know, fine, you're getting sucked up by the vortexes on the water planet. When those same vortexes are sucking up the ocean, they're having an aerial battle between like you're this time they're not powerful enough to get your fucking taxi out of the air. They can just suck up the entirety of the ocean. And then at the end of the movie, when they're having the big fight and Kamala gets her head stepped on with the hammer, and Captain Marvel's like, yeah, I'm not gonna fight you. But at the beginning of the movie, she's like, we can only save so many people. Just, like AIDS and the genocide there just leaves half of them to die. But then when this one kid's life is at stake and this bitch is threatening to steal the fucking sun, you're just like, yeah, I surrender for this one person's life. That is consequence anyway.
Twinsies, though. They're twinsies.
But also, she saved the day, so clearly, she knew what she was
It
doing.
was such a stupid plot point. Sure, she saved the day. But in that moment, you traded the entire galaxy's existence on, I bet I can do this.
I mean, you could argue that every superhero does that
Yeah.
every single time they
She-
go out.
Wait, talking to
They're
chat,
betting on themselves.
Yeah, she started to care about her friends, but that doesn't mean you trade their existence. Like, fucking Monica cared about her friends, so she sacrificed herself. Kamala, wanting to be a superhero this whole time, at no point was like, no, put out, or don't let her steal the sun, go without me. Like, she wasn't a hero in that moment, and Brie Larson sacrificed the galaxy. That was just a bad play overall.
We don't train
It
live,
worked out.
soldier. It worked out. It worked out.
You're not
know what you
wrong.
mean.
I don't deny
It
worked
wasn't a
out.
bad proposition because they won.
Yeah. Which one has the Bengals? Okay.
In one of those
All right.
scenarios, you are rolling the dice with the existence of the galaxy. The other one, you just use your godlike powers
Wait.
to beam the
Okay.
bitch.
Okay, now you've really triggered me. John, what's your opinion of the blip?
The blip, like touching the thing at the same time at the beginning of the movie.
Definitely.
No, the blip is when they lose half the universe.
The
Like
snap.
the whole storyline of Infinity War
Ah.
and Endgame. Did you like that?
I thought it was interesting. I didn't hate
Okay.
the blip.
So,
Oh wait,
one of the main
okay,
plot points of the
no.
blip.
So
was
actually, going
Doctor
back to the
Strange.
blip.
Nope, stop. Nope. Doctor Strange said, I went into every single possible timeline that could ever exist, and there's only one in which we win out of consider like trillions, number inimaginable. He said there's only one. Okay? So what he did was he bet on himself and he believed against literally essentially insurmountable odds that they can win based on this one timeline. So that storyline is good. However, this storyline where Captain Marvel decides that they're going to bet on themselves to try and save the universe, in which they definitely have better odds than that, that's not okay.
So you asked me what I thought of the blip. You didn't ask me what I thought about the storyline, the plot lines of the blip. Like as a concept is what
Yes.
I answered. Sure, it's fine. Half the universe is gone. I thought that's an interesting concept. I've got issues with the story and the execution of the blip when I get into it. Anywho, I'm sorry, what was the other thing of what you said?
Why
Patrick,
is
shut
that
up.
okay and why
don't
is
know,
this
though.
not?
Because in the blip, like, don't get me wrong, this is the only way it could happen. Like, if it was 13,000 ways out of infinitely, but like this is literally the only way. If a butterfly flaps its wings just right on the day and it doesn't rain until 3 in the afternoon, like if all of that lines up being the only way, I think is a stupid explanation. But I begrudgingly give it a pass because Doctor Strange had the ability to read all the futures, know the only way they succeed is if he dies here and now, and knows that's not a guarantee, but knows he has to put his faith there because if he doesn't do that, it just falls apart entirely. Captain Marvel did not read the future. She did not know this was the only way to succeed. She rolled the dice blindly. Like, he at least knew the direction he had to shoot in, but he knew it was a 1 in a million shot.
So,
She was
so
just
what
like,
you would say is,
I hope this works.
So what you would say is Doctor Strange believed in his own abilities because that's what he used to see
Uh-huh.
these futures. He believed in his own abilities and bet on himself. And
bet.
Captain Marvel believed in her own abilities and bet on herself.
That's a false equivalency.
It's
Her
not.
abilities did not give her foresight.
No, she
Like, his
understood her own
foresight
abilities
changed-
to fight the leader of the
No,
Kree.
if he didn't know that his death was like the only way to make things happen, you're telling me he wouldn't have just kept fighting? Like, you're hung up on all the wrong parts of this.
No, I'm hung up on your ability to be logical in one part and then not logical in another.
I follow a very specific set of logics, and I can't help it. If you can't keep up, it's a fast-paced lifestyle. Patrick, you got thoughts on the movie?
I do. Thank you. Yes, I do. That's it.
Yes,
no,
I
this movie
do.
was fun. It was. I've been consistently rating it as like maybe lower mid tier for me. I think, like Austin, I had a lot of fun with this movie. But when you really start looking at it from like a character writing perspective, from like just a natural like story progression, I think some of it falls apart a bit. Like John, I think the villain's a little weak. I think the character arcs for Carol and Monica, especially, getting over their shared trauma of Maria Rambo's death during the snap. Just that was resolved very quickly, and it felt like we skipped some steps. But I'll be lying if I didn't tear up a little bit when Kamala gave Monica a hug on their spaceship. That got me a little bit, even if it didn't feel completely earned. Um, that being said, well, it was that, and then when they're on the Amber Waves of Grain Planet, whatever that was, that felt a little like a jump to in logic. But I on the whole, I really like this movie. I think it did a really good job. I think, like Will mentioned earlier, of not requiring you to watch Miss Marvel or WandaVision. They explain everything you really need to know. They even recap Captain Marvel, which is a movie that most people seeing this have seen probably.
That annoyed me.
That annoyed me because it's like of the properties you're recapping, that's probably the one that needs the least. But whatever. I did find it odd that she took out the Supreme Intelligence off screen and we had to get that in a flashback. That probably could have been its own little miniseries or movie, even. The Supreme Intelligence in the comics. Big deal. Um, and it kind of bugged me how they called her the Annihilator when it was really the Civil War that fucked their planet up. Like, that's not her fault, you know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, the chemistry between the main three, between Carol, Monica, and Kamala, is the heart of this movie. I think Kamala is easily my favorite part of this movie. She's he's so charming in her show, and she's really charming here. And my favorite parts of that show kind of carried over to this. It's her family, and then the little doodles being brought to life at the beginning of the movie. Love that shit.
That was
Um,
great CGI and editing.
I'll give him that.
Sloth Baby Productions.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Shout out
her,
to them.
That's the in name. That's her production company.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, and I am gonna disagree again with Austin here. The Music Planet kind of didn't work for me.
I fucking
Um,
loved it, dude. So good.
And
It's fucking stupid.
it just felt so disjointed from
I don't give a shit. I just think it's fun. Like I don't go into this like really caring. Like the MCU storyline is so all over the place right now. Like I'm not concerned with the minor details about things lining up. Like they clearly don't know what they're doing in terms of like where they want this story to go. And so details not lining up don't matter to me. I just go in and have fun with the movie.
Yeah, it rubs, and usually I'm like that because it felt like something like that, and the Flurkin bit felt like something out of Guardians, which I'd be fine if this were a Guardians movie, but like 30 minutes into the movie, we have Carol talking to Kamala saying, "We can't save everyone. Get on the fucking ship." And it's like, well, that's really fucking serious. We're talking about displacement with the scrolls, and I have another note on that in a second. Um, so it just felt like a little bit out of place when I didn't feel like we were balancing the tone very well. The Flurkin bit, I did not get me right away either. I think when it did get me was when they started playing "Memories" from the musical Cats as the background music. That got me, and the entire theater I was in, all 10 people were laughing. So they're doing something right, I guess. But and then a note on the scrolls. I thought it was really fucking stupid after watching 6 episodes of Secret Invasion, saying, "Oh, we can't find you a planet. Oh, we don't know where to put you." That Tessa Thompson just waltzes onto their ship, saying, "Oh, we can take him to New Asgard." It's like, where were you 6 episodes of Secret Invasion ago? Where were you 10 years? Okay, 10 years ago is unfair, but like 2 years ago, like that. If we could have done that, we should have done that. That's a larger MCU problem. That's not a this movie problem. I think her showing up was a fun little cameo. I love Tessa Thompson, so um, yeah. Villain was weak. Movie was fun overall. Good energy. Uh, all the fighting sequences were incredible. I think um, the directors come out. Nia DaCosta said she took inspiration from video games and specifically Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, which is the sequel movie to that game, and it shows. It really feels like it in some sequences. So really dug that. But yeah, on the whole, it kind of falls apart when I think about character motivations and character arcs. But I think the where I'm at by the end of the movie, I'm in a higher place than I think I was, and than I thought it would be. I guess. So yeah, one thumb up.
Good rating.
What a rating out of Patrick on that.
Okay, can I? This isn't anything against the movie. I really thought that tall African American man talking to Nick Fury, one of the main like saber scientists. This is just my stupid headcanon come up with this. I'm like, this movie's called The Marvels. Is this how you get Blue Marvel into the MCU? And it wasn't. That was me
And it
making up shit.
wasn't. I will
I'm
say,
just like,
hands down, best part of the movie is her waking up and it's fucking her mom there, and then it's like what, and then it's Beast. Like, I'm not gonna lie, at that point, I
Okay,
got
hold on.
pretty hyped.
We'll get to that. Let me
You will get
intro
to that.
into this because we're
Okay.
gonna. Do you guys before we get to that? Does anyone else have any thoughts just on this movie before we go into the future of the
Yes.
Marvel MCU?
The
I
Marvel.
do. I have one.
Go
last
for it.
thing.
Go for it.
The music, the actual music, like the original score. That's my favorite thing about these Marvel movies to analyze. I'm not like I'm not a musician, but I just enjoy them. And Laura Cartman, she also did all 9 episodes of What If and Miss Marvel. She killed it, relatively speaking, with what she was given. Um, Theme is really simple, but I think it like in the character sense, it works really well. The only problem I have, or there are good things and bad things. Bad thing is that I think it was a director or producer choice not to have themes that she did herself from Miss Marvel show up, but also Captain Marvel's theme
Mhm.
from her movie because that showed up in Endgame. By the way, you guys didn't know that.
Mhm.
When she blows up the ship in Class Act, shows up, but shame because Marvel has always had a really big issue with music continuity. Like if you
Yeah.
look, like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a really good. It's old now, but there's a really good every frame a painting video about it,
Yep.
and
Classic.
and if you guys haven't watched it or anyone watching hasn't watched it, please watch it because it's still kind of relevant.
Mhm.
My point was that oh man, this is where the ADHD forgot what
I feel
um
that.
um oh
I'll piggyback on that. That the MCU has always had a problem with bringing themes together, like character themes across movies together, to because like still to this day the DCEU is an absolute dumpster fire mess. But like Wonder Woman's theme, like you can just in your head hear that, and it comes
you
out
mean
across
now?
all the different movies. Yeah. So like
No,
that's part of the MCU's issue with that is like some of them are not distinct enough to remember, and then they're not brought together across the universe well to ever like get that stuck in your head as to like this is that character's song or sound.
yeah. So
Mhm.
there are only really I think two themes that qualify for actually like being almost public knowledge. Which the first one's obviously the Avengers theme because that's shown up in probably about half the projects since the first Avengers movie, and then Captain America's theme, but his first one, not any of the newer ones, but the first one. is also that's also by proxy because you also have Star Spangled Man, Star Spangled Man.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
That shows up in Hawkeye at the end, and then the
Oh
whole
sure.
quick side thing. Disney released Rogers the Musical, the 30-minute show from Disneyland from the summer. They
Yep.
released it as an album. Great listen. It's pretty on the nose, but Nick Fury has a song where he recaps everything, and it's
Classic.
really funny. There's a really funny thing that happens in that song, but I won't spoil it. But yeah, other character themes though, not yeah, you're hitting it right on the head. The thing that Laura, or so reason why this is so, or when it comes to Laura Cartman, is that she actually understood that criticism and made it and flipped it. She reprised most of the themes that were previously established for the characters that are shown in What If. So she's very adept at knowing when to use them and when to come with her own music. That's a really big thing because composers, or if you think of from an artist, like, hey, I don't want to copy out someone else's work, because at times either you gotta go with your gut instinct or you gotta listen to your producer, your director. The thing with the Marvels is that the producer or the director, whoever made that call, I don't think was the right call, because I really think that Captain Marvel's theme would have shown, or shown as like exemplified. That not the right word, but I think you guys know what I'm getting.
Mhm.
It would have been nice, just even one little callback, but segueing
Well-
that.
Well, this feels like too like this is the perfect kind of a movie where like we're this movie is about the team building, right, of the Marvels, and we
Yeah.
get that bit by bit over time. So you could have had, if you use their themes, right? You could have had Captain Marvel's theme. You could have Rambo probably doesn't have a theme, but you can make one. You can have Miss Marvel's theme. And then by the end, when like you can use this as part of building the team, where when they all finally come together, you write a piece that puts pieces of all of their themes together and creates a theme for the Marvels as a team. And that's a subliminal piece that would have locked you in to that part of the story arc even better had they decided to go that route.
Okay, so piggybacking just off the title there, just the Marvels. Kamala meets Monica, and she's like, Professor Marvel, and she's trying to come up with a Marvel name for her. Monica's like, oh, I don't need a Marvel name. I don't want a Marvel name. I'm not necessarily upset about this. I'm just gonna say I'm disappointed that, like, as many times as we brought up that joke in the movie, Monica never got her Marvel name. It just felt like something they were gonna deliver on, and then just couldn't actually find a good one.
That's what all the toys call her. Just
Is what?
It's the old trope of comic book movies don't code name. Stupid.
Yeah.
The thing
I
with
think that-
her-
Like, she had a good motivation for not wanting one. Like
Fair.
like I'm not disagreeing there. I just, for as much as they built it up, I thought they were going to deliver.
it gets
I
a
did think there
little
was a
weird,
couple of
too.
pieces in their finale, like the scene where Rambo gets lost is like there was a things you could have used to tie that to our arcs that were going through this movie. They just didn't like really connect. Like you in your own head you can put it together, right? Like Rambo's doing what Captain Marvel did previously. And they're, furthering the points of like you can't save everyone. But they're like you really could have tied it better with the way that Rambo speaks in that scene to really tie all of those things together. And I think it was a missed opportunity in terms of hitting harder. I think it like you can understand it to a degree, but it could have been executed better.
I will say real quick on the Marvels thing. Her name in the comics is usually Photon.
Yeah.
So if they did give her actual superhero name, it wouldn't have fit with the Marvels theming.
Yeah, no, I
But-
figured like she had a code name in some timeline or something.
Well,
and I
the other thing,
Mhm.
the other thing with it is she's gone by Captain Marvel in the comics before too. So it's just like if you go by her Marvel name, it's also Captain Marvel. So
Okay.
it just gets murky.
Still, like, again, my issue wasn't that she didn't have a name; it's that they just made reference to it like they were going
And
to
then
give her a name,
didn't
and
pay
they
it off.
never did. At least in the movie. Like
Yeah.
it's not whether or not she has a name. It's that, but they just kind of left these breadcrumbs, and I picked them up, and I was like, great. There's no piece of bread at the end of this. Wasted
It
all this
feels
time
like
collecting breadcrumbs.
it
Yeah.
feels like one of those things where, like in Age of Ultron, where Cap almost picks up the hammer, and they're just like, "We're just gonna leave that as a joke," and then they actually are like, "Well, maybe we should pay that off." Like 5 years later, and they do something with it. I feel like whenever they reunite, they'll be like, "I got a name. It's Photon." They're like, "That's not related to the
Okay.
Marvels at all."
If they do that or something along those lines, I will rescind it as long as there's some punchline eventually.
Yeah,
True.
I could see it. They could drop the
All
ball
right.
too. I don't know.
No, they probably will because Rambo's a small character, realistically.
Like, so going back to the rest of the score real quick before I segue it. Darben's stuff was pretty cool. I found out that the composers, I think, and I want to assume, based off their names. So their child did wrote the lyrics for the chanting. I don't know what the lyrics are in, but it's pretty cool. And then also going back to the Aladdin sequence and the musical number on the album is actually a little bit longer than what I remember in the movie.
Oh.
I don't know if that is of interest to you guys. There's no lyric, or I don't have the lyrics transcribed yet, so
hmm
just thought I'd throw that out there. But the whole musical part was gold for me. I loved it.
Yeah.
Um, and then going back, or so then segueing into what you guys wanted to talk about. The
Well,
one thing I
real-
was very happy.
Before we segue
yes,
to that, can I just real quick shout out the lady who plays the villain?
Mm-hmm.
She's engaged to Tom Hiddleston, who just killed it in Loki season 2. So I just want to shout that
Loki
out.
season 2 is better than this.
Phenomenal. Anyway,
Yes. One thing though that they did that they made a good choice was that they brought back the X-Men theme. Not
oh yes, they did. Yeah,
they did, and okay, and
we'll have to dig into this. I'm excited to talk about this.
yeah. So Laura Cartman brought back. So there's been a couple X-Men themes over the years. There's because the original trilogy didn't really have any continuity between them musically. But the second one was done by John Ottman, who was Bryan Singer's usual editor, and then he came back with Singer for Days of Future Past, and then also Apocalypse. So that theme is basically the default X-Men. If you don't first class or or Wolverine, but that's another
Yeah.
category. But yeah, I was really happy about that because I always thought it was underrated, and I will say that Laura also did the X-Men animated theme at the end of Miss Marvel,
Oh
which I was really happy about.
Oh yeah, that was
The only bad thing was that it wasn't on the album. That was because the thing about albums when movie score releases is that it's basically marketed and conceptualized as like a best of, like a compilation of the music from the movie. So not everything is going to be there. Very, very rare that everything is going to be there, especially since a lot of edits happen in post production after the album's done. So just to put that out. And sadly, it's the same case here. Is that the X-Men tracks are not on the album release. However,
You gotta hide it.
Yeah, I was gonna say is last year they did the same thing with Multiverse of Madness, where they did not have the Illuminati music when they show up, when Charles shows up, and then when the WandaVision jingle plays in Wanda's dream,
when they lead into Wanda. Yeah,
they added it after the fact. Like I think it was like 3 weeks after the movie.
Interesting.
So maybe they will. I don't know. They did a similar thing for Werewolf by Night, where they actually reissued the score album a few weeks later with more tracks. We'll see. They haven't done it since then, so I honestly doubt it'll happen. But hey, if it happens, I'll be so happy.
So
Yeah.
want to
I
give
think
a quick
that,
shout out to a guy in chat here. For November, they're saying they're only interested in the Hunger Games, Napoleon, and Thanksgiving. I'm gonna partially agree. I'm so hyped for Napoleon. I'm going like opening night. Don't know about the rest of those.
there we go.
I think that may be just about the only thing in that X-Men scene that I actually thought was good. I am a fan. I'm glad the X-Men are coming. However, we have now seen 0 recast X-Men. We've seen
Oh, okay.
4
First of
recast
all,
or 4 non-recast X-Men if you include um the fucking Aussie guy playing Wolverine. I can't remember his name off the top of my head
Hugh
right now.
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Beast somehow looked worse in this movie.
there's
Better.
I can talk
I
about all
didn't like it. I didn't like it. And I don't have a problem like with Beast being. I just thought he looked somehow worse now in 2023. I the stuff with Binary, I didn't know anything about her prior to her showing up in this scene, so I can't really speak to that piece of it. I just want the X-Men to be here already. It feels like we're really like punching this button over and over again. Like the X-Men are coming, the X-Men are coming, the X-Men are coming. I just want them here now. And yeah, that the scene hit but didn't hit for me if that kind of makes sense.
I
So
get it.
here's why it hit for me is that first of all the recasting thing, they can't legally do that until what, like 2025, I think.
That's true.
So then don't show
Contractually.
them.
But I like that they're showing it because they are building up to, hey, those other movies that happened. You remember when Kelsey Grammer was Hank McCoy in one X-Men movie? Actually, two, but one of them was like 5 seconds.
Yep.
Well, he's back, and yeah, he's all CG now, so it doesn't look as good as he did in the other movies where that's all makeup, but he's there. And those are the X stores from the original Fox. It's the Days of Future Past, X-Men timeline, those movies,
Yeah.
original trilogy, all that. Like, they're building up to, like, we have these other movies we're going to utilize, we're going to pull from them, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of that when Deadpool comes out next year.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
hoping this will solve some of the problem if what it is whether it's Deadpool or whatever movie they decide that they're going to kill all these timelines. If
Mhm.
the storyline ends up being that they kill the X-Men storyline that was the previous movies, like timeline in that, and then X-Men come in some other way, other than
Yeah.
it just being like these X-Men show up now in the MCU, that's fine. I mean, I presumed that's what it was going to be originally,
Mhm.
but it just that makes it feel weird that we keep like getting these hints at it. If what you're saying is true and we're not going to get any true X-Men stuff for 2 more years, why are we so far out ahead like pinging this? We already, if you like, we have just the scene right before this is the hyping of the Young Avengers. So like we've already got a middle area between here and when the X-Men can actually come in as recast characters. Like it feels like they're just pressing the button too many times.
I don't
Yeah,
disagree
and I
with
think
that.
if we weren't building up to Secret Wars, where I think all those things will come together, I'd probably have more of a problem with it too.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
but I think they'll make it work. The way Secret Wars works in the comics, at least, is it's all the different multiverses coming together, and then only one of them really makes it out. I think, as far as I know, I haven't actually read it, but so I can totally see what you're saying, where they just kill off all those other universes, and then we either have some lingers from the other X-Men universes, or we start bringing in new guys, new faces.
I think
Uh,
that I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but weren't the rumors originally that in the Deadpool movie, the first Disney Deadpool movie, they were going to do the whole timeline piece and then Deadpool was going to be the only one who makes it out and it closes the loop on the timeline for the X-Men and then they end up in the world?
I don't know. I can't speak to that. I can say, just based off leaks and rumors, that the TVA is going to be involved, Wolverine's going to be involved, Deadpool's going to be involved. That's all I'll really get into.
Yeah, I mean, we know
Um,
that with all the stuff, the leaks about Secret Wars, that's going to end up being,
right, and I
or
think
at least
Deadpool's
the
going to be
idea, the general idea of it.
yeah, and I think Deadpool's going to be the first step to building up towards that with Hugh Jackman specifically. Um, so yeah, but that's that. I think it's cool that they're bringing. I think this is because every other time we've seen any reference or notion of the X-Men or any mutants, really, it's been a character organic in the MCU in the main timeline, or it's been a reference to the X-Men '93 animated series. Um, so I think it's
Weird.
cool that
What
they're
about Patrick Stewart?
that was his wheelchair from the animated series. They played the
It's a
animated series
combination of
theme.
both.
It is a combination of both,
that's-
for sure.
I don't
It is.
I don't know that I would call him in a different timeline. That whatever. That's a non-important point.
They
Go
definitely
ahead.
played like the animated show theme when he rolled up, so I just kind of
And that one's on the
associate
album. I
with
forgot to
that.
mention that. That one's on.
That's a cool little riff when that pops up. I like that. Um, but yeah, I also think it's funny that Lashana Lynch has now played Maria Rambo in 3 different roles, and 2
I
of
was
them are
thinking that,
Captain.
too, after I left the theater, like, huh, wow, it's like they like her more as
Mhm.
Captain Marvel than
Then
Rambo.
right, she's played 2 different versions of Captain Marvel now, and I'm cool with it. I think binary would be a really cool thing to move forward with, but I don't know if she's gonna stick around long with that, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, you tie that into the box office numbers for this. Where are you
Mhm.
gonna get a Captain Marvel binary like crossover at any point? Because
Mhm.
I think it's just clear that people don't care about Captain Marvel.
Yeah, yeah. I think the binary thing will
I
pay
mean,
off later.
it's an issue of like Brie Larson's character never having a moment that really caught anyone, whether it was in her
Mhm.
movie or Avengers. She's shown up too many times and not hit too many times for
Right.
most people at this point of like, MCU wear out.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I'm just happy to see Fraser is the
How do
beast
you
again.
how do you feel about the Young Avengers piece of this?
Okay.
Outside of just Kamala Khan's funny Samuel Jackson piece.
So this excites me a lot because I've noticed the clues they've been dropping for this. Like you look at the beginning of Phase 4, even like you look at WandaVision, they have Wiccan and their other son, whose name I'm blanking on right now. Um, oh my god, it's Wiccan and what's Wiccan's brothers? I can't remember, but they're both in the Young Avengers as well. And then you go to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You have the Bradley kid who plays Patriot or becomes Patriot eventually. And it's just been little bits and pieces, some a little bit more obvious, like Haley Steinfeld as the new Hawkeye, and you also have Kamala Khan and America Chavez. We've just been building up this world of younger heroes, and people have been wondering when are we actually going to start building up to that. Myself specifically. So seeing that actually start to move forward here did a lot of good for me. I was also just really happy to see Lucky the Pizza Dog again. I love that guy, dog. Um, and I just love Haley Steinfeld as I'm blanking on the younger Hawkeye's name. Oh, Kate Bishop. I really like her as Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to be my 2 favorite members of the Young Avengers. So I'm just happy to see them interacting already. So I'm thrilled about it, honestly.
Where are you on Spider-Man as potentially part of the Young Avengers? Since
There's
Tom plays such a young version of him.
there's precedent for it. I think we can't really pull Miles Morales into this just yet because he hasn't been properly introduced in the MCU. Um, but I know I've heard the rumors that he might be a leading member of that, and I'd be okay with that. I think that'd be fun seeing him interact, especially just seeing him being a dork around Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel.
Just-
I
I'm
think
just
that'd be-
imagining this group of Miss Marvel, Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop, and Peter Parker, like in a
Mhm.
Young Avengers group together. Just sounds like so much fun.
It
Just
does.
the ridiculous energy of that group. Like that's the thing that I'm most excited about the future of the MCU for.
Oh,
Like the Kang
Mhm.
Dynasty stuff. There was a moment where Kang seemed like it was going to be great, and now we're kind of wavering about what they're going
Yeah.
to do with Kang after the Irons scandal.
Right.
And the Secret Wars stuff seems. I'm gonna have to see it because it seems like fan service in a way that scares me.
It's right on
Um,
that line for sure.
And it feels like Young Avengers is the one thing where I'm like, this just feels like it's gonna be a hit
Mhm.
once we get to it.
Yeah, and I think it's fitting because one of the original members of the Young Avengers is a person called Iron Lad, and the thing with him, I'm going to get in a little bit of comics players. He is a past version of Kang. He's so in the MCU he could be a Kang variant, and I think you could have a lot of fun with that. And Kang is an antagonist for the Young Avengers a couple of times, and like there are 2 like comic runs he's shown up a few times. So I think it would fit to introduce him in the multiverse saga where Kang is the primary threat. Allegedly, if they decide to go a different direction, who knows?
John, where do you land on the X-Men Young Avengers endings to this movie?
Okay, Young Avengers. I have little to no vested interest in. I will say this: I I make no secret I'm fairly annoyed with Marvel. I'm over Marvel, and now the next Marvel you're promising me is a bunch of like 13, 14-year-olds and like pick a more annoying
Okay.
age group. And so you've got just a franchise that annoys me mixed with people that annoy me, and I think they're going to collide in just the worst way. Maybe it's, as good as this and there's people who like it, but I guarantee it's just something that makes me want to walk out of the theater and punch a child in the face.
Getting mad at children who are
Yeah.
actually adults. Got it.
Teenagers.
How about the
high
X-Men?
schoolers, and 20.
The X-Men I was a little more hyped for. Like you said, they've been fucking teasing us for years now, and I was just like, yes, finally, after that joke in Deadpool, we're kind of getting X-Men now, maybe. And now Patrick said it's at least 2 years out still, so I definitely agree there's way too much tease going on, Austin. Anywho, I'm always hyped. I love the X-Men. Read a lot of those comics as a kid, them and Fantastic Four. But what really gives me hope is that the X-Men are currently in a different universe. And I'm hoping we can just like go over there and have X-Men adventures without tying it back into the rest of this mess, because it's like you said,
Good luck with that.
everything's on a galactic scale now. You're always fighting for the
Yeah.
existence of the world, not just Magneto trying to overthrow a different government. Whatever he's up to.
Oh, Maggie.
There's a real part of me that hopes, at least for a movie, just give me one movie in that universe. We get just a down to earth. God, it's weird to call a down to earth superhero story down to earth, but a more plausible villain in a comic book story, not just the universe is on fire, go fix it. So I'm hoping we just stay over there. Like you said, Austin, fat chance they don't move him over eventually. But there's a part of me that's just wanting them to stay there and just, because I believe you can be good. Just don't get mixed up with these bad characters we have over here.
Picking up.
Other
So
than that
piggybacking-
last bit there, I don't disagree that I think the MCU, like one of the things about Spider-Man when he joined and they were starting the whole galactic piece was it, like the first one anyway, was like it's just a local New York
Mhm.
issue, and that can be fun too. Like not
Yeah.
everything has to be galactic
Right.
scale.
I will piggybacking off of what you just said, John. I think the X-Men universe, especially when you go back to the Claremont run, just is such a vast universe where you could have it technically be its own cinematic universe.
Oh,
And they tried it, and it didn't work. We
What
can
do
talk
you
about
mean?
that for years and stuff. There's so many problems with that. But like some of my favorite X-Men stuff, I will push back up against the galactic scale stuff. Is that some of my favorite X-Men stuff happens in space, like the Dark Phoenix saga, which is
dude, Dark
something you
Phoenix
have
is
to build up
amazing.
to.
Like, don't.
that's
But
not-
here's part of the issue too, though, right? Ends up being like, because I think that, and you guys can push back on this.
I'm gonna push back on this.
You're gonna have stronger like comic knowledge than I do, but like there's a lot of stuff in the comics that's like the X-Men are part of Marvel, but they're also in their own thing
Yeah.
over here.
Yep.
And the
They
people
really-
who don't
yeah.
have X gene are in their own thing over here, and like they are in the same universe, but not like somewhat.
There's a wall
And
between
like
them.
yeah,
They're kind
like
of
so
it.
there's
It's a privacy
so
hedge.
there that's the kind of thing that's going to be hard where it's like you've now got 25 years of the MCU, and then you're just going to be like, and now out of nowhere we've got the X gene in the X-Men, and how do you make that work?
Yeah, and I know they've done their fair share of crossing over things. Like I'm reading a comic or an event right now, and She-Hulk and who else showed up? There were a couple of Marvel characters that had brief like one panel appearances. But I know even now in the current comic run, like Tony Stark is marrying Emma Frost, and so he's very heavily related to the X-Men right now. So there is crossover, but yeah, for the most part, they do feel separate, even
For
in the comics.
sure.
But they've already planted the seeds for X Gene already being present in the current MCU. Like we've already gotten Kamala, we've already gotten Namor. And then that immortal guy in She-Hulk is a mutant in the comics, so there's already precedent that we have some mutants already in Earth 616.
Yeah, I don't mean that like the X gene is just going to show up and you're just like, all right, now it's here. But I just mean like no matter how you do this, you're going to have to you're either going to have to thread a really thin line to
Yeah.
nail it in terms of introducing them, or it's gonna feel clunky
Mhm.
because I mean, ultimately,
yeah.
if the MCU could do it over again, they would have had the X-Men 25 years ago. They
Yeah,
wouldn't,
for sure.
they wouldn't have ever sold it, and they would just have them as part of this world. But that's not where we're at.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier with the Flag Smashers and all the people displaced post Blip. Is an interesting storyline that they're probably not ever going to touch again. And
Yeah.
same with the Scrolls. Like, you're good.
There's
You
so
tell
many
me,
things now that
Mhm.
MCU just
Harrison.
drops.
You
Eternals,
tell me
take
you're
them out
gonna
of the ocean.
right, exactly. Yeah,
Love that.
another great point. Yeah, we haven't touched that yet, and that was like 2 years ago now at this point.
Yeah.
So
It's
you're
my
telling me
main
you're
gripe with Civil War.
gonna bring in the X-Men, bring in another like globe spanning like social cause that we're gonna try and worry about? Because that's one of my favorite parts about the X-Men is that they're heroes, but they're discriminated against and they're treated horribly. So I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull that off here. We'll see. We'll see. That we're so far away from that. I'm not worried about it right now.
Oh, just something real quick. I haven't really been buying comics past couple of years, but I actually changed my mind for once this year, and also Transformers is relaunching. It just relaunched
Mhm.
a month ago, I believe. But also, Aman Vellani was co-writing a miniseries
Oh yeah.
after her resurrection because she got killed off this year. The no
We
bad
don't need to talk
idea.
about that. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
Oh
But
my god.
I'm waiting for the last issue to come out, which I believe is this month. It's a 4 issue miniseries. I mean, for
Mhm.
someone who's not familiar with reading the Marvel comics, or at least all of them,
Yeah, there's a lot.
yeah, it's actually been nice. I can hear Amon's voice come through as Kamala. It's not perfect, but like, hey, it's a fun comic about Kamala being a secret X-Man and
Hmm.
going to college. Kind of cool and cute.
Yeah, I wanted to pick that up, but like that's it's. I think it's tied into the Fall of X stuff going on right now with that
It
current
is,
X-Men saga,
but I
so I
mean,
haven't touched it.
that's what Wikipedia is for.
But I want to read it because I really like Jonathan Hickman's X-Men. It's so
I have,
cool. Oh, it's so
if
cool.
if you want, I cannot tell you how, but I have like a lot of extra variants of
Oh,
all of them
okay.
because there's a comic shop or did you ever go to Graham Cracker Comics?
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I use them
that
as my
place rule.
mail away all the way here in Arizona,
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
and that's what I did when I was in California. After I moved from all the,
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, my account. Funny enough, it got shipped to my address in California that I haven't lived at in like 5 years.
No way.
2 months ago, and then I fixed it.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, the comics, I'm happy. Um, they're just nice. It's just easy breezy read. I hopefully the idea. So the reason why I have so many covers, at least for the series, is because I want to get one autographed by Iman and go get it graded and
Mm-hmm.
then go hang it up because I have
Nice.
unless I have a little Miss Marvel shrine right
Hell yeah.
over there.
Hmm.
That's it. There's a couple of pops of Marvel Legends.
Yeah,
It will
yeah, yeah.
grow. Also, I'm biased. I love Iman.
Oh, she's great. She's so charming.
No, that was a whole other thing. Why'd they bring the
Oh
fucking
no!
family into space? Like, why
Oh,
aside to
shut
have
up.
them there
No,
for the purpose of
no.
Because they're
being in the
fun.
movie?
Mm.
You're Nick
No,
Fury.
no.
The sun's gonna be
No.
put out.
Uh-uh.
Your captain's got their powers mixed up.
Just
And
stop
you're just
while
like,
you're ahead.
you guys look like a good. Come on, we're
Just
going to
stop.
space. It's top secret, classified. You can't record video.
You're not
but
gonna win this one.
like you're just a handful of civilians, guys. I broke your couch. I feel like we've really grown closer since then. Let's go to space. No
They're the
reason to
best.
be there.
You want-
No, they were
No,
fun.
okay.
I love the dad
Hold up. Okay,
talking
no, hold up.
insurance with the guy.
This
the
might be
adult
jumping through
son.
some hoops.
Okay.
This might be jumping through some hoops, but I could totally see Kamala's mom being very aggressive against Nick Fury, saying, "No, you're bringing me up to that spaceship right fucking now, Mister."
Yeah,
Show me the scene.
It's written.
It
It's
happened
subtext.
off screen, John. It
The
happened off
subtext.
screen. Come on.
head cannon.
Headcanon.
Read the
That is my headcanon.
situation.
I could
Oh,
totally
also-
see her doing that.
Quick thing. I meant to mention this earlier. Carol, I believe, is explicitly says that she has a universal translator. They use that to talk to the Flurkin. Granted, it's a little bit of a leap, But
Hmm.
you can. You
No,
probably
no, no,
gain
no, no, no.
superior
It was just off
technology.
screen. I told you. They built the
I'm
cat
saying,
translator.
I'm giving you the how of they could do it off screen.
Uh,
They have Universal Translator.
Yeah, just
That's
just
the
off
thing
screen
they
the
do
whole
in
movie.
marketing.
Let's just whole movie off
Exactly.
screen.
I'm just saying. I just want to get that out there. I was trying to say it earlier.
Amoeba. It's an amoeba. Anyway.
No, okay, no. Why weren't they eaten by cats? The plan was
No, that bugs me.
everybody
That
gets
actually
eaten
bugs me.
by
I'm with you on this
cats.
one.
They
I'm
are
with you on
up
this
there
one.
for no reason. Why aren't they eaten by cats? Same reason. It's just so we can have them on the fucking screen. It's just so they have
They
an
were-
excuse to be present.
They
Oh,
were the
that's big
least
facts.
qualified to not be eaten. Like that's all I'm saying. They're not
I'll give you the
scientists.
real reason why. It's to sell Lurkin merchandise. That's why. Because cute kitten plushies always sell.
That's true. They were very cute.
Like the AMC, they have a popcorn bucket for every major movie. I believe for this movie, it was a freaking Flurkin egg. You open the
Yeah.
egg as the popcorn
Hell
bucket,
yeah.
and there's a cat. That's how I got spoiled
Hell
about
yeah.
what the eggs were, because of the stupid freaking merchandise.
That's fucking awesome.
I did not buy it. It was not worth $40. And
No.
like,
No.
it was like
Still
it was
cool,
a mystery
though.
box too, like, or not mystery box, but like you don't know which Flurkin you're gonna get. And there's like the super rare one. Bro, I'm not.
No way.
$40 for shit. You have to get 8 of them, no, or 6? No, no.
Uh-uh.
All right, let's close this out. But I'm gonna close it out by asking John a question. John, did you see
Oh, what?
Ant-Man in the Quantum Mania?
No, I did not.
You're not
Damn.
missing.
Okay.
I thought about it, and then Patrick saw it and was just like, "That's the worst thing I've ever seen." I was like, "I don't think I'd survive."
I wanted you to compare it to this movie, but if you hadn't seen it, fair
Austin,
enough.
I'll watch
You
it
can't
just
compare.
for you. I will watch it and do a review
No.
just for
You
you.
might need some liquid encouragement to get through it.
I just,
Damn.
It's
Okay.
bad. It's bad.
It's
I
real
believe
bad.
it. I believe it.
I mean,
And,
John was there when me and Pat were having the whole conversation about it. But
I want to do this. I want to
Anyway.
just hate a movie.
Anyway, wrap it up for us here, John.
Guys, we've been Obscure Reference. Thanks so much for tuning in. We had a lot of fun ranting and raving here tonight. We'll be ranting and raving back here, tomorrow night? Is it
Tomorrow.
Sunday still? Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
If we're not live, we will definitely have an upload going up in the evening times. And then Thursday, we'll be back with our weekly stream as is per usual. However, we're going to hopefully shake things up a little bit by then, so can't guarantee what's coming to you. But it's definitely going to be something media related. Hopefully, we get a little bit of gameplay in there. And then what? I think that's everything we have planned for the coming week. So, guys, if you're liking the content, please consider hitting
You're
that
forgetting
subscribe-
about something.
What
Come
am I-
on.
What?
No, you're not going to remember. Scott Pilgrim comes out this week.
Oh, what is that, Friday?
I think so.
Thursday or Friday, one of the two. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
so keep
I'll
your eye
double
out
check.
this weekend. We'll probably be back here doing a little bit of Scott Pilgrim review, at least initial thoughts on the series. But if you're liking the content, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. Become a subscribing dibbler today. If you're not ready to
did.
subscribe,
I did
just
today.
go ahead, leave a like
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
video. We'd definitely appreciate you being lively in the comments section tonight. But I do believe that's everything we have for you, so we'll see you guys next time.